welcome or welcome back to
Petite Perspective.
I love that I always give that to you. Leave that to you. So today we're going to
introduce ourselves.
Oh God, sorry. Took it for granted then that everyone knows who we are. I'm Georgia and this is
Elise.
A Slice. And we are going to talk about the books that we've read since
our last
reading wrap up, which was
May.
But let's start with, so just for a bit of context, were you away? No, you were away in May.
Away in July for a long weekend.
Oh yeah, and then I was away in June
and July.
And July, yeah. I was away, so this is like a little bit of summer reading, a bit of holiday reads, and a little bit of ACOTAR sprinkled in there because, of course, it wouldn't be a Petite Perspective vlog without me talking about ACOTAR. Yeah. So I'll let you go first. Do the honours.
So the first book that I read in June was Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. Normally Alice Feeney books are quite psychological thriller-y. I've loved every other one of her books. This one was a little bit different. So this one is kind of they all go to their grandmother's to celebrate their grandmother's birthday, and then she just dies.
I started listening to that on Audible.
Yeah.
Before I didn't want to pay my subscription.
It just seems that people keep
dying,
but you don't know why until the end, and then the end was a bit
fell a
weird.
bit flat for you.
It was just a bit weird. Not my favourite. I think I gave it 3 stars.
Nice.
But, yeah.
Solid 3-star read.
Don't know if I would recommend it. It's if you were going to read Alice Feeney, don't read this one.
What one would you recommend? Alice Feeney wise. Rock, paper, scissors?
Rock, paper, scissors, yeah.
Haven't read that.
The one about lies.
Tell me lies.
Whatever it's called. Sometimes I lie.
Okay, so that was Elise's first book. My first book of June was Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Garber? I can't say her. Garber, but... Garber. And this is basically a fantasy... But it's fairy tale. But it's not a retelling of anything that I know. This is where the comments are yes it is, you silly bitch! But but it's not a retelling of anything. It's about this girl who is heartbroken because her fiance... No, not her fiance. Let me just re-explain myself. She's heartbroken because the guy that she's in love with, her sneaky link, but obviously we're talking fairy tales, so don't call it a sneaky link. Her sneaky link is basically getting engaged to her sister, stepsister. So maybe that is she's got an evil stepmom and an evil stepsister, so that's a little bit Cinderella-y. But she basically makes a deal with this guy called the Prince of Hearts, but it obviously all deals come with a catch, and you go into this world and it's fantasy romance, the world is there's no world building, you're so in it straight away. That's why I said that you might like this, because I know that Slice is trying to get into the fantasy era, and I feel this is soft. Well, the world, there's no, it's just fair. It's like a fairy tale. I literally love it so much. I'm currently reading the second book. The story, I was kind of halfway through I was am I bothered about this story? But again, I feel it's because I compare everything to ACOTAR, which is the holy grail for me. So because I compare everything to ACOTAR, I was do I really care? Do I really care about you, Evangeline? I don't know. And then towards the end, I was Evangeline, my sister, yes, I do care about you. And then I immediately had to go and get the second book when it was released, and they're the most beautiful covers. Can we just how beautiful are these covers? So nice on your bookshelf.
I like that they're both pink as well.
Yeah, I don't know what the third one is going to be, because that comes out on my birthday, so happy birthday to me. Yeah, so that was my first book. I think I gave it 4 stars. Didn't give me a 5-star feeling, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I then read half of Better Than the Movies at Georgia's request.
And she hated it, guys.
It was just...
She hated it.
It's just way too, kiddie love. It's way too YA for me.
Oh, but I love a little YA.
Yeah, but so do I. But when
Eleanor Park was so YA.
But it was different. This, I just couldn't get into it. I just was I don't really care. This is annoying me.
You know that feeling when your book bestie has a different opinion to you in a book, and you're shit, can we be friends?
Not for me.
So you DNF'd.
DNF.
What do you want to do your actual read next, or do you want me to do what I did next?
I could do my actual read
next.
Yeah, because I was reading them in tandem, because I was I can't read one.
So do what you actually...
Once. Then I read Entangled, which again, weird book. Why do I keep
Did you get that at 66?
Yeah. And the reason I picked it up is because this is all it says on the back. I have to figure out a way to get out of here. I just need to find out what he wants. But part of me doesn't want to know the answer. But she's like, oh, she's been kidnapped.
Yeah.
I
love that was a jump you made.
I was like, hello, she's been kidnapped. She's
I need to get out of this. She's kidnapped.
She's going to get murdered. And
smells like death to me.
I'm still not sure what the ending is. I'm still not sure what happens.
So, 10 out of 10 would not recommend.
I think I gave it 4, which is, I think because the end was like, I was like, what? But I think I might have overestimated the 4. It definitely is probably more 3.
Then I read this on my holiday, you know, light and cheery little holiday reads. If He Had Been With Me, which I don't know if you want this.
Yeah, I do.
I gave it to my work friend and she felt like exactly the same as me. Basically, this is YA, but it's like Eleanor and Park sort of YA. It's not cheesy YA.
Yes,
so it follows 2 best friends, Autumn and Finn, and they were basically like childhood friends. Their mums are best friends, lived across the road from each other, known each other their whole lives. She'd always kind of had this little soft spot for him. He'd always had this kind of soft spot for her. He goes to high school, becomes really popular. She like gets in with this group of friends. You basically follow her. She gets this boyfriend called Jamie. You should read this one. And it basically follows Autumn and Finn. And then something happens at the end. And I was reading it on the sunbed. I was on my holiday, and my mum went to the bar, and I was on this like last little bit of this book because it's so fucking traumatic. Sorry, I keep swearing, because it's so traumatic. And my mum went to the bar and she was like, I'm going to go and get us a drink. And I was like, I can just tell something bad's going to happen in this book. I'm not going to spoil it for you because I know.
No, but I know that everyone says like the ending is
and then when she came back from the bar, obviously I had my sunglasses on, and she was like, well, did it happen? Did the bad thing happen? I took my sunglasses off. I was bawling my eyes out, like bawling my eyes out in public on the sunbed. I was like, yeah, it happened. She was like, oh my god, like handed me this like strawberry daiquiri, like take this, you weirdo, like bringing the vibe down of my holiday. But I absolutely loved this book. I feel like it's like tugs at your heartstrings. You should read it. I think I gave it 4 stars, maybe 5. I've realised though on Goodreads I am the most generous.
Cheers.
Like, I do not give anything. My average rating, it tells you your average rating. My average rating's like 4.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
tells you on
Goodreads.
Goodreads.
I bet your mine's like 2.
Mine's like 3. Yeah, I think mine was like 3.75. I read You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry. Okay, I've got a lot to say. About both of my books, actually. Sorry, this is just going to be rambling about because I had such a good reading month. Anyway, You and Me on Vacation, first Emily Henry book I've ever read. I was torn. I was going to buy, because I really wanted an Emily Henry read for my holiday. I was going to buy Happy Place. It's in hardback, too big, not interested. Bought You and Me on Vacation. And You and Me on Vacation is about Poppy and Alex, who met at university, didn't get on. Oh, it's lovely colour on your toes. Love it. Didn't get on, met in university and hated each other. Well, like he hated her, and then they became friends. And she's a travel blogger anyway, so every year she gets through her company like a free holiday every year, and she always takes Alex. So whatever they're doing, they've got like relationships, they've got lives, they've got like they come together in the summer and they do like a vacation. Anyway, something happens on their trip to Croatia, and the whole book you're like, what the hell happened on this trip to Croatia, because everything's changed and they weren't friends anymore because of what happened to Croatia. And she's like, I'm going to salvage this friendship and he's going to come on this holiday with me this year. And then he's like, I can't come with you because I'm going to my brother's wedding. So I'm basically telling you the whole premise of the book, sorry. And then he's like, anyway, I can't come with you because I'm at my brother's wedding. And she's like, that's cool, I'll come to your brother's wedding. So they make a big trip out of it and so much happens and you find out what happened in Croatia. But the point of my story is Emily Henry's banter. I saw someone with it printed on a t-shirt, like Emily Henry's banter, that's all. And I was like, I literally need that. Book was the banter between the two. It's just so funny. Like Emily Henry, I want to read more of her because the banter in that book, fantastic. Sorry, that was like a 2-minute story when it could have been 2 seconds. I thoroughly enjoyed that book. Anyway, I will shut up now.
Until she talks about their next.
Yeah. Sneak peek.
So I actually did read ACOTAR in June.
Woo! Well, let's be real. You read the first book.
I read the first one, but I read ACOTAR, not the series, just ACOTAR. I'm not going to tell you what it's about because everyone knows what it's about. I'm very late to the party. We both were. Now, she's looking like I'm about to like break her soul. I didn't hate this book. I didn't hate the book. But I didn't understand why everyone didn't like Tamlin. And I still don't think there's anything wrong with Tamlin.
Oh my god, I've tried to explain it so many times, guys. Literally.
I think all of your standards are way too high.
To explain. Oh, okay, so if her boyfriend sat there and watched her get eaten by a worm, and she tries to come to me and she's like, Georgia, Jamie just sat there while I was getting eaten.
No, because you know exactly what that boy
your
would
standards
say.
are too high.
You know what that boy would say? You're a strong, independent woman.
Yeah, feminism.
So, like...
Yeah, no, Tamlin, get in the bin.
But I am going to read the second one.
She is at some point.
Yeah, I was going to take it.
I would love it if you read it on our holiday and I could see your like live reactions to Mist and Fury.
So we'll save it for... Oh, because I was going to say I would bring it with me to take home to read... To start off the thingy, but actually I'll read Shatter Me the second in Shatter Me instead.
Okay.
So I'll save Court of Mist and Fury for Tenerife.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fun.
Because that'll be the only book I have to take with
That's
me.
right, yeah.
So yeah, I think I did give it 3.
Yeah.
But for me, that's like Georgia giving it 4.
But that is the worst, not the worst book in this series, because it sets everything up. But that is like the start of
I did enjoy
the series.
I
Do you know what I mean?
But I also think I didn't, because there was so much going on
in
June, I didn't have time to kind of really...
If you hate Mist and Fury, then you hate the series.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
You can still love the series.
Plus, if I read it on holiday, I have more time to actually dedicate to reading it. Whereas this one, I had to pick it up, put it down, not read it for like 4 days.
Yeah. Yeah, so I read The Housemaid Secret, which is the second one. Can we do a little insert again? I read The Housemaid Secret, number 2, which is by Frieda McFadden, and the second one in a series. I basically read this on the plane journey home, because my brother took my phone and was playing the mini golf app on there. So I read literally like 200 pages on the plane. Frieda McFadden I always find, we've got like mixed opinions on Frieda McFadden. I did enjoy it. It was very much towards the end like this is just the same book, different font.
Yeah.
But I enjoy Frieda McFadden. I do think she's fun. If I want a book that I know that I'm going to sit there and read 200 pages, if I'm just like on a plane, you're like stuck, I will pick up a Frieda McFadden book because they're just like easy to read, fast paced, plot twisty. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I like Frieda McFadden. And then my final book of the month. Can we just take a minute? I don't even know. A Court of Silver Flames. I don't even know where to start. This like blew every single other book out of the water for me. Like
what, from the series? From the series.
From this year. Like this is my favourite book of this year. So this book, for anyone who doesn't know, the first 4 books in the ACOTAR series follow Feyre and Rysand, who she ends up meeting, and they're all about Feyre and her story. And this book is about Nesta, who is Feyre's older sister, and you follow. I won't give anything away, but I won't give away who she's with. But you basically follow her story. And something happens in one of the books. Again, I'm trying to be like really...
Yeah, you can't.
Because I can't! But something happens in one of the books that impacts all of the characters, but mainly Nesta and Elaine, the younger sister.
Yeah.
So they're kind of dealing with a load of stuff from the other books. And this story follows Nesta, who everyone said was unlikable, but I liked Nesta from the beginning because I understood her trauma. Now, I've seen people say that if you're the older sister, then you understand Nesta and you love her. And I'm obviously the oldest sibling. But this book made me feel things, made me giggle, made me cry. Honestly, this book, it made me realise why I love reading and why I will never not read again in my life, because books that are like this where you relate so much to a character, so you follow Nesta's journey, you follow her like in a circle, and it's just like, it's 800 pages. It felt like 8 pages. I just recommend anyone to get into the ACOTAR series, and I can't wait until you read this if you get this far, because it just it's ingrained in my soul and I want to read it again. I'd read it again tomorrow. Anyway, sorry, rambling again. I've just had such a good reading month.
See, the reason I want to read it is because you love them so much.
I know. But
that is the reason I want to read them.
I loved them as they went on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I didn't.
You don't have to love them, but then we do tend to have different taste in books, which is okay. I'm coming to terms with the fact. So now we're going to do what we read in
July,
which, again, I went away in July.
So did I, actually, to be fair.
Yeah.
So the first book I read in July was the new one by Steve Kavanagh, although I think another one's just come out.
I'd like to borrow that. Yeah, I know. I saw you say that.
The Accomplice. So it follows the story of the wife of a serial killer who they can't find, but she's being trialed as his accomplice because they think that she's involved in the case. And good old Eddie Flynn and his whole gang.
No, but it's Eddie Flynn!
They're all Eddie Flynn. They're all Eddie Flynn.
Fantastic!
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think this is just as good as The Devil's Advocate.
Really?
Because the twist at the end, I thought I'd figured it out. I thought I'd figured it out. I thought, I knew exactly what's going to happen. No, not even close. Not even close.
Give it to me. Wow, her husband is a serial killer, but did she know? Did she?
And it's like the twist happens and then another thing happens afterwards and you're like...
I love Eddie Flynn. I literally love Eddie Flynn.
I wish you just read them in the order.
I know.
Because I've read them in the order that they are.
I didn't. I then read... Oh, we need to do a little... The People on Platform 5, which we got in the Cotswolds. Obviously, if you're seen our Cotswolds vlog. If you haven't, then what are you doing? Yeah, so I got for £2 The People on Platform 5, which I've actually donated to a little library box that is at the bottom of my road because I wanted to pass it forwards. It was just a lit fic about this lady who gets on a train every day and sees the same people, and then their stories intertwine, and they all hate this annoying lady on the train to start with, and then they all end up needing her help for certain things. It was really good. It was a good read. It went on a little bit towards the end. I feel like it could have been 300 pages when it was nearly 400 pages. You know what I mean?
Too long.
Lit fics. You're trying to get into fantasy. I'm trying to break the world of lit fics because I really want to be educated enough.
See, I wish
to read a book,
but I just can't. I think that's worse for me than fantasy.
Really?
I just find them so boring.
I want to read a book where it doesn't involve
Yeah, but we tried that and we didn't enjoy it.
Get on it. You know what I mean?
We tried that and we didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm really trying to not just read about eggs all the time.
Or
in my
vampires.
Books. Or fairies. Do you know what I mean? Whatever variation of it that it is, I'm trying to...
Yeah.
But no, not a bit
not
of me.
Yet.
So, but I did enjoy that. It just could have been a little bit shorter.
The next book I read was actually, I got it as an ARC, which was The Love I Could Have Had. Which I think I gave 4 stars. The reason it wasn't 5 stars because I didn't get that 5-star feeling, but it was really good. It was basically this whole story. This woman, she's got the perfect life. She's been with her fiance since they were teenagers, and they're about to get married. It's 2 weeks before their wedding, and they're having. I'm just
waiting for what goes wrong.
They're having this little reunion thing, but she's having second thoughts about whether or not she could get she's had what she could have had if she wasn't marrying him, and then she falls off a cliff, ends up in this alternate.
Oh my god!
She ends up in this
alternate. Oh my god! Who just? What was she doing on the cliff?
So that's where they're having
such a turn.
They're having this romantic little picnic thing in this place, their secret place they've always had, and she falls off the cliff. And when she wakes up in a completely
I was not expecting that. I thought you were going to say she runs away.
No, she wakes up in a completely different universe. This is her life, but not her life. So her family don't know who she is. They all think she died when she was 12. Her fiance isn't her fiance anymore. He's got a whole new girlfriend. It's a whole completely separate world.
Watch me turn up to his house
and obviously she has to meet all these people, and then she obviously at the ending it ends nicely, but but then you see her in this alternate universe and what's happening in her real world.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of gave in Gone Girl where the husband gets where she disappears and the husband is accused.
Wow.
It kind of starts off looking like it's going to go that way, but then obviously but it's really good. So if you haven't read it, you should read it because it was really good.
I then read the new release by Coho. The pages at the back of this have fallen out because that's how hot it was in Cyprus. It literally made the binding fall out of my book. But Too Late by Coho. I finished off The People on Platform 5 on the plane, and then I picked this up because I bought it in Heathrow, and I was I'm just going to read a couple of chapters to send myself to sleep. Ended up 4.5 hours later reading 200 pages. My friend who I was with kept looking at me are you going to sleep at any point on this plane? You're going to literally be screwed for the rest of the day. But I just was this. When you just cannot put a book down. So this follows Sloane.
We love a Coho.
I love a Coho. Sloane and Asa is her boyfriend, who he is a drug dealer, quite high up drug dealer, and then there's a guy called Carter who comes into the play. Carter's got a secret, Sloane's got a secret. There is like so many secrets, but it's fantastic. Coho is great. This was literally written, which I didn't know. I read it at the start. So she released this when she was writing her like romance books. She would release this well, she started writing this because it's so different to her romance books.
Yeah.
Like there's and she would release it chapter by chapter until people were like, no, you need to release this full book. Like they were gagging for it. So she just released it now. So I'm gonna give this to Slice next, passing the baton.
So I can't remember what order I did these in. But
Just make it up, sister.
But I think I read the first novella in the Shatter Me series, which is Destroy Me. This is not that book. This is Unite Me, which is the Destroy Me and the Fracture Me.
They're so confusing.
Yeah, they're all the names. I did like this one. I don't like how it ended because it ends on a cliffhanger and it really
But that's
annoys me.
probably she's done that
but
so
it,
you
I
carry
don't,
on.
But the thing is
Clever
the second
girl.
this is told, this is the first book in a completely different POV. From like a certain point. The first novella is Warner's POV of what happens in Shatter Me,
Okay.
but only of like a certain point.
Oh,
So you get like a bit more of character development, which is
I
good.
really love how they come up with
Because
all these names.
I didn't like Warner in the first
Warner's
book.
such a sexy man's name.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Although
Warner.
that's not actually his actual name, but I
Oh.
can't tell you that because.
Okay.
Although everyone seems to know that, but I'm not going to tell you because I didn't
Okay,
know it until I
okay.
watched someone else's vlog.
His name Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron is Warner.
Oh.
But I thought Aaron was a completely different
I've
person.
seen that on TikTok.
Yeah.
I read Done and Dusted and it's a Rebel Blue Ranch. It's like a series. And it was my first taste into cowboy romance era, and let me tell you, I'm obsessed. Giddy up. Yeah, it was fantastic. Followed, oh my god, what was her name? This is what I mean. I'm like, I've forgotten her
You
name.
loved it so much.
I loved her name. I loved her, but anyway, followed. I know his name. His name was Luke Brooks, and he was sexy as anything. Followed her. She was like a barrel rider, and then had
Sorry?
this.
What's a barrel rider?
You know, like when the horses go round the barrel, like round the barrels. Emmy. Her name was Emmy. Yeah, you know that when the horses go round the barrels, like. It's just like such a cool little, like, you know, like when you read something, you've got this is such a cool little vibe. Her family owns a ranch. She goes home. Her brother's best friend, who's always been like off limits to her. Something happens. They end up in close proximity, which we love. And yeah, it's just spicy cowboy romance goodness.
Which has now led you to buy the Chestnut Springs series.
Which has now led me into my cowboy era.
Which
I'm
I knew
moving
was
away
gonna
from my
happen.
hockey era.
I knew the
Yeah.
cowboy era would happen.
It was cool. So I've got my cowboy hat for Harry Styles, and I was like, oh, I could see this lifestyle for me. But yeah, so I'm gonna basically make cowboys my entire personality now, and not ice hockey players. So love that for me.
Well, the next book is 100% my entire personality. My
She's
entire.
been waiting, but like, I've been
Personality.
waiting for this one.
Magnolia Parks.
It's such a big
Book
book.
one. Yeah, but it doesn't feel like that book.
Yeah, but like, as in like,
Oh, as in like big, yeah.
wow, look at her in all her glory.
Honestly.
These are gonna be like on the black market soon.
No, apparently I saw that they're gonna keep these original covers
Oh,
because everyone was like, why would you get rid of them?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
why would you get rid of these covers? I've said it in my vlog before, I'm gonna say it again.
Watch the vlog.
Why would you get rid of this cover
Watch the
and
vlog.
replace it with something that looks like a Hallmark movie?
Yeah. Tell us about the book. Come on. Tell
It
us.
follows PJ and Magnolia. They have the most
See,
toxic
cool name.
whirlwind. It's basically Chuck and Blair, but make it London.
Ah!
And I've annotated this book so much. I think it's probably the most annotated book I've ever annotated, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad about it. It basically is Georgia and I's personalities in a book. There's references to Chanel every other bloody page. If I could live in a world,
It would be this one.
It would be this one. I wouldn't want to be them. I wouldn't want to be Magnolia
Why?
because the toxic relationships. Like that's not really my
Yeah,
vibe.
this is what
But
I
I'd
saw
like to
someone
be.
say.
I'd like to be in the world and live that life.
Haha! Look at one of Slice's annotations.
It literally
Can we
says.
just take a minute? Ha 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 ha!
There's like another one as well that says that. But I just love it, and you get like I just want to read the next ones, but I can't read them straight away because I'm too scared.
You broken the spine?
No, I had to. I did relax it a bit though.
Oh, okay. When I read it, I can't break the spine. When
Absolutely
I borrow
not.
books,
Although it is
for
on
Elise,
Kindle.
Yeah, I might.
So you could read it on Kindle.
Might read it. Do like the thing where I do one and like at the same time.
Because you'll need to see my annotations.
Yeah, I want to see your annotations. Yeah, I want to see your annotations. That's like half the fun.
That one's good, but I'm not going to read that one.
Slices in her. Yeah, don't. Slices in her Magnolia Parks. Are you going to read the second one?
Absolutely, I've got all 4.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put myself on pre-order for the 5th book.
So you should, sis.
But I'm scared it's not going to have a nice cover and that's going to really upset me and it's not going to fit.
Fit
like if they're not the same height, it's going to piss me off.
Yeah, I hate when they do that.
But I'm probably going to pre-order it anyway.
Yeah.
Whether or not.
Of course, she's lying. I might pre-order it when her name's on the waiting list already.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
This was the best. I spent an entire day in June looking for these, and they'd taken them off the shelves in all the shops that I looked in. So I had to order them on Amazon, and that's when I found out the new covers, and that was the reason why.
Right, was that your last book of the month?
No.
Oh, okay. This is my last book of the month. If you watch the podcast episode that we're going to release next, my cousin sent me, she works for Penguin, I don't know why,
So
and she sent me a box of books, and this was in it. It's called The Three of Us. It's an ARC. I don't know if it's out yet, or it might be just a new release. It's a new release, sorry, not an ARC. And it's about a woman, her husband, and
her best friend.
I can't tell you their names because she doesn't fucking refer to their names. The
best friend is called Temmie, that's it.
Temmie, and that's all you know.
Yeah.
The husband, my husband, my wife, so weird.
So
took
weird.
me like an afternoon to read, and honestly, I know it only took me an afternoon, but that's time I'll never get back. Enough said.
The next book I read was actually an ARC. We're going to have to do a little.
Oh, sorry.
Called The Inheritance, which is like a thriller. It follows this family. There's like 3 daughters, and they all have to go see their mum because their dad's just died, and they need to find out about what happened in the will. And it follows like their different stories, but there's like a little twist. Like one of them's basically been disinherited, but you don't know why until you get further into the book, and then you find out like all of these bits about their story. I wouldn't say it was my favourite thriller. It was good, but it wasn't like wow,
change your life. Good.
No, but I have still given it, I think, 4. I could read you my full review, but you'll just have to go on my Instagram instead to see that.
Slices Book Club. Let's do it.
Then I finished the month with The Three of Us and feel exactly the same as Georgia. I'm not sure what this book was about. I'm not sure why I read it.
Do you want to waste words on it or?
But I don't really understand what it was about.
Like no.
And the ending was just so confusing.
There's no plot.
I'm not going to say any more about it, but
there's no plot.
Yeah. So that was the books that, and then the books that we're both reading now currently. We're both going to finish these by the time it ends.
I'd like to finish it today, but I don't think
I think I've got about 100 and
go out.
I've only got about 100 pages left,
you'll
so I'll
finish
finish this today.
Yeah.
And then start a new one.
This is such a good book, by the way, but you have to tune in for next month's wrap up.
So yeah, that was all the books we read.
Thank you for joining us. We haven't done a book wrap up in a couple of months.
We've both been
We've
busy.
been busy, and we've
Booked
been
and busy.
reading though, literally booked and busy because we'll always find time to read. So yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned for next month's wrap up, and we'll see you in
the next
one.
Bye.
Bye.